built this club from nothing. And I loves it.
We're up and running, pal. Thanks for giving me your time, mate. So this is the first chat with one of my legend here, Mark John, the Messiah. Still playing, Mark. Still having a go, pal. How are you doing?
We'll see now.
How's things, mate? How are we keeping?
Okay, pal. Not too bad. I'm getting a bit like everybody else now. This lockdown's getting a bit like it's hard work now, isn't it? So
difficult.
maybe now it's looking like we might be on the way out, isn't it? Hopefully, and get back to a bit of normality and a bit of local sport, hopefully, isn't it? And the rugby, it'd be great.
Yeah, it would be lovely, mate. Any TikToks? Doing any more TikToks or keep?
I've done a couple, but I haven't publicised them, mate. They're on the old on the telephone at the moment. Yeah.
That's the other. Right. Great stuff, Mark. So, yeah, basically, mate, just want to cover a few things and have a little chat about your time at the club and your career, basically. I'm really interested, and I know a lot of boys would be as well. But so, yeah, just to kick it off, mate, what was your first memory of Born of Mine?
Oh, right. First memory of the club. I think I can remember going training probably because I don't think I wasn't involved much in junior rugby. It was youth rugby, So I went up in first year in youth. Went down at the club and across the pitch, down to the second team pitch as it's known now, with the bloody big slope on it, and turn up there and I look, and the first person I see coming towards me is like Ian Jones, so it was like stalwart in Born of Mine, like, and I think it was I think he was probably in his last year of youth, was my first year of youth, like, so there's a hell of a difference then, and I was a skinny little kid from Trallwyn, like, going up there, and I could see this boy coming towards me from the pitch. He was out early, I think, training, and like he smiled, but he had no teeth in, he had no teeth. And I straight away I thought, oh, yeah, okay, this is going to be.
I'm home. Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. Like, so honestly, that's the truth. I can remember seeing Ian and him smiling and like nothing from here to here, nothing. And I did think, this is going to be an interesting time, like, and, wherever Ian was, like, Webby wasn't far behind, like, because, like, my first year in youth was, like, Webby's last year in youth, and, he was just like a god, like,
How good was Webby? Was he good?
Like I say, I only had that first year in youth with him, and, like, he couldn't play every game as well, like, because he was involved with the Welsh youth, as well. Like, he was captain of Welsh youth, I think, when he went, but he was just like good as gold, one of the boys. He wasn't Iron Mike. Do you know what I mean? He is what he is.
Yeah.
So people like my first year in youth, right? I got the sheet there somewhere because Derek Lanchbury, one of the committee men at the club, kept all the records. Like, we played 30 games that season. I'd won 26. Lost 4 from memory, and I think I was lucky enough. I played in all 30 games. It was only me and Peter James played in all 30 games, because he's got all the stats for it, And it was like lucky to be, because I was only a kid, like first year out of youth, and I had like players around you, experienced boys in the latter years, what I mean? Yeah. Who were like, looked after me. Like you had Sutty, he was playing 10. He was like shit off a shovel, quick,
Yeah.
I had a boy called Richard Aislop played in the centre of me from Paterna and hard as nails, like, so it was, it's it's an easy way to come into playing, like,
Yeah, looked after you a bit as well, I suppose.
Yeah, and then in the second year in youth, then like Ian and Webby moved on. Like Webby was playing in the World Cup, I think, in 1987. Sure. He was in the youth team like a couple of months before. Next thing I'm getting up early hours in the morning to watch him play Wales and Australia or whatever it was. I think it was Wales, Australia, is it? It's like bloody amazing,
Yeah.
And then the second year in youth, like I say, Sutty was captain then, Simon Davis. And I think in the second year, I was looking at the old brochures when they were celebrating 50 years of youth at the club, and we played 24 games that year and won 23. So, like my first 50-odd games.
They lose, yeah.
I think we won 49 of them. Like, we played 54, won 49. So it's like 90-odd% win record. So it's like, so you like, it's easier when you're winning, innit? Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
If you're coming into a side and you're getting well beaten is hard. But I was like lucky that those first 2 years were amazing. And in the third year, my final year in youth, I was captain then and fell apart a bit then. We weren't as good then, But we did win we won the sevens in my final year. But I think the 3 years of youth, I was totting up now. We won. First year we won everything, right? The League Cup, the we won the league, we won the cup, so we only win the President's Cup automatically.
Yeah, President's Cup.
We did that the first 2 years, we had 6. Plus we won the sevens in the 3 years. So it was like 9 trophies, if you like, in 3 years. So it's like,
Not bad, mate. You can't fault that.
This is good.
Yeah, I'll have
Let's get introduced to beer, didn't you? When drinking and singing, I'm like, whoa, this is great. This is what it's all about,
Sure, you were coming through the youth then. Was it like an aspiration for you then to go and play senior rugby? Was it like, I'm busting for this. Like, I want to go and play football on my first.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can remember I'd go. Well, it was great times. I'd go up to the club with my own man. Like I know your family enjoy the club. I used to go up with my own man and watch the games. I think 85, 86, my first year. I think the senior side won the West Wales Championship. They beat Tumble in Stradi. And I can remember going back to the club and they brought the bloody shield in, and I was like, this is, it was like, oh my God, this is great. So, and I guess then, you did want to try and play to try and play for the club, and I had the chance then to do it just towards the end of my time in youth. I managed to play for the first team.
So you played first team when you were still in youth rugby?
Yeah. So
do you remember that first game, your first start?
Yeah, I can. I got the team sheet by the side rebuyer because I just thought, it's a nice memento to have. And it's funny, I was on that Twitter thing. There's this boy Howell who's up in 7, and he did the same thing. It's really weird. We both did it. So the team sheet. I don't know if you can see. I got a camera there. I don't know if you can see the names. I'll read them out.
Wow, Nicky Cunningham.
It was April. It was April '88. So I was just coming to the end of my last year in youth. And this was like a game. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether it was Tom or one of the boys outside half, whether he wasn't fit or couldn't make it. So I had the court. They said, "Oh, do you want a game?" Yeah, okay, I'll play. And so me and Chris Davis were the halfbacks. Clive Ace in the centre, but he dropped out. He didn't play. So we had 2 boys on the bench. Neil Sturgis was captain, and Neil wasn't shy in telling you what to do.
I bet not.
Get the ball down here. Get it down there. Oh, it was great. But so that was for my first game. I was still in the youth, and it was a Thursday night. Carmarthen Quins were the opponents at the club, and I'm looking at it. I wrote the final score. We won 20-0. So we must have done something right. So,
Ian Jones plays 7, is it?
Yeah, because he was fit in those. When he was a kid, he was slim and fit. Not to say he was never not fit, slim. Be careful to say, but he played 7. Kenny Isaac 6. Mark Sturgis and Chris Powell in the second row. On the front, Nicky Cunningham was hooking. So nice to play with Nicky, legend, and props and Meiji and Fitzy, a couple of the boys, and Chris Davis, myself, Paul John in the centre with Clive, but Clive dropped out. Keith Brooks on one wing. Robert Davis on the other wing, living, Frederick Place, Rob?
Yeah.
And then Sammy Morris then 15 then. And Malcolm Jones on the bench.
When you played that game then, did you notice a step up in standing physicality and
Yeah, you're lucky, I suppose, if in the backs, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm playing 10, I could just think about it a bit, you know what I mean? So
made a living out of that, Joe.
Yeah, well, but it was, I think, your first game, you just want to do well. You're at home, adrenaline and everything kicks in. But I do remember then, I must have done okay because the next game then was, I think they won Section B that year, the first team, and that was the last league game. So you used to have the West Wales Championship playoffs then, so the winners of Section A, Section B, C, D and E, they'd play off to go to the final in Strati. Right. So I think I'm right now. Yeah, I wouldn't get it wrong. I think we were playing then. They had a playoff game. We won Section B. So I'm not sure. It was then. We played Vellinvolen in a playoff final to get to go to Stradi. So I was picked for that. So we played it on a neutral venue in Gowerton. In Gowerton it was, and it must have been about a week later. So I get picked, and well involved at the time. They were a strong side, you know, and they had a couple of boys in the team then who played first class and gone back to the club. You know, Dennis Davey in the back row with Anthony Griffiths, and they played for Llanelli and Neath.
Oh, okay.
Really good players. And then a boy called Kevin Thomas who played outside half, again with Llanelli for years, and they just gone back to the village, you know. So they were a tough side, but we managed to beat them. I think it was like 13-3 or 13-0 or something, and I managed to drop a goal that game.
Wow.
So so that was good. So then we won that game. That was my second game, and then the third game then was down in Stradi in the championship playoff against Tumble, and like at the time, Tumble were like something else, you know.
Really?
So like Aaron's dad was playing then, you know,
Okay, yeah.
His dad was in the front row. Their pack was like something else, you know, and they were the kiddies, and like from memory, suffice to say, they beat us well, and I think I had a bit of a shocker from memory. My first two games were okay, and then they had like a bit of a learned a lesson then, you know, playing I was at half in Stradi against Tumble as an 18-year-old. It was like, you know,
that's incredible.
Yeah, and then that was the end of that. And then I went to like first year of seniors after that, you know.
So who was coaching up there then when at that point?
In those three games, there was a boy called John Rees. You know John Rees, who works at Ward. John was coaching then, and then I think he finished then after that season. And Tony Clement then was my first year in seniors. Clem was coach, and I love Clem. Loved him to bits. You know, great for me. Bloody hell, yeah. He was coach then. Maybe Conor Cutterbuck coached him a bit. I can't quite remember then, to be honest. But it was definitely Clem in my first year in seniors. Like.
Yeah. When you look at Clem, like he's still got an aura about him at the club now. You know when he's up there on a few pints, like he seems to attract people to him, and
he's that type, you know.
Type of character, like, you know, and you know he's. You know, I don't think I ever watched him play, but just see the respect that he still got at the club, like, so he must have been a hell of a player.
When I played then in the first year out the youth in my first senior year, right, we lost the first game at home. I was gutted. We lost against Pondadillas at home. I was thinking, oh shit, this is crap. And then the second game was away to Seven Sisters, and at the time, Seven were really strong. And we went up on the bus, and then Clem must have seen that I was like a bit nervous and what have you.
Yeah.
And he came and sat next to me on the bus, and he just said, listen, he said, you know, just don't worry about anybody else. Like, just play, just play your own game, like, you know, just a couple of quiet words, like, and I said, he was, because, you know, like, I was like young, 18, 19, whatever he said I would do anyway, you know, but he was just talking nice and tidy about it, you know.
Calmed you down a bit, like.
And we went and we beat them. We won that game, man. Because we hadn't beaten Seven for years, probably, because they were, like, so strong. But we won that game, so and in the end of that first season, I think in Section A, West Wales, we finished runners up, and I was outside half that season before Malcolm came back in, because his following season, Dacey came back to the club, and I played in the centre then, and Malcolm went to 10 then in the second year of West Wales, you know, Section A.
What was it like playing outside Malcolm Dacey?
Yeah, that's me. See it again, pal.
What was it like playing outside Dacey?
Oh, he's class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent outside half. Bloody hell, what a hell of a delivery, yeah. He was really, yeah, he knew how to play, like, and again, I was lucky that when I went into the centre, I had Malcolm at 10 and then Clive Ace at 13, like, and they were both, like, Welsh youth internationals. Like, Malcolm went on to play for Wales. Clive perhaps could have as well, but like he was a bit temperamental, Clive was. So, you know, he played first half, but, you know, he played first half, but he came back to the club, and if he wanted to play, he'd play. If he didn't want to, if he wasn't so bothered, it'd be tough sometimes to get him going, like, you know. But yeah.
So you went on to captain the club as well, Mark. Can you remember that, like, the conversation? How did that come about?
Oh yeah, I tell you what happened there. Now it's like so it's funny because we had that, like I say, I played 2 years West Wales, Section A, runners up. We finished second in Section A, 2 years on the bounce. Then the Heineken League started, you know, in 1990. So that came along, and that was a bit of an eye-opener because it was hard going, and we struggled the first 2 seasons of Heineken League. We were going through a bit of a transition, I think, and we didn't quite grasp it, how tough it might be, you know, going away. You know, Mountain Ash, bloody Treorchy, tough places to go. They were switched on like a bit more than we were. So we struggled for a couple of years, I would suggest. And then they did it, funny enough, right, going back to Clem again, right, he'll tell you this, we had a few changes in coaching because the coaches come under pressure, we're not doing well. And I think Clem went in to be like a temporary caretaker coach in about 91, something like that. And he picked me as captain, I think. Yeah, he did, up in Rumney, Cardiff. I remember the game. We played Rumney, Cardiff up in Rumney and it was like, it's about 4 games to go at the end of the season. And he just asked me, he said, look, come on, have a little go. I'll play to be the captain. And that, I was probably 22 then. I wasn't very, and like, he used to have boys playing in the seniors. They were in the, late 20s, 30s, and he was like, I was only a kid. But he put that trust in me, I guess, and we did okay towards the end of that season. And then there's a big change coming up the club then because they appointed Glenn Ball as coach then in 92, 93. And like Glenn is coming in from Neath, so
right. He
was a big name, if you like, and it was a real kind of change came to the club. And I guess it depends who you ask. Some people say, it wasn't great. Maybe some people, didn't get up with the program. They made a choice then, right? And the people in charge of the club, we want to improve. We're going to get this man in as coach. So I remember I went up the club in the summer. He asked to see me before he took the job on me, because Glenn, poor bugger, passed away now. Glenn died last year, I think. And he'd asked, can I have a chat to the captain? I think he'd said that. So I went up the club a couple of weeks in the summer before we joined, and he wanted to suss me out, like, to see what I was like. I'll never forget it, because obviously if you talk to some of the boys who know Glenn, like, there was no bullshit with him. He was straight down the middle. He went on a Welsh tour, I think. He played centre for Neath for years. Tough man, but like, just told it as it is, didn't suffer fools gladly, and just said, do you want to be this, are you up for the challenge? And I went, yes, no problem. And then, but like, he transformed the club then, because he came in then and said, right, this is the way it's going to be. Yeah. This is how we're going to play. First team are the priority, because we'd struggled a bit, I think the second team, and they were winning most things, and it was a bit difficult. It was a transition time in the club, like, you know what I mean? And as a young captain, sometimes it was difficult to try and get it all on the same page. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. I can remember calling to Malcolm Jones's house in Kevin Road. He was the captain of the seconds, and he'd been upset, and Glenn had said something about this is the way it's going to be. And Malcolm was threatening to finish, and I remember calling up his house. Smooth it over. Yeah. I was a kid, like, and Malcolm was a grown man in his 30s. And I'm like, Malcolm, come on, it'll be okay. Bit of a baptism of fire then. Oh, yeah, definite, mate. So, but it was good. It was good, like, because we then started to win then, fair play to Glenn. He came in that 92-93 season. Like I said, I was captain, and bloody hell, we did okay in the league that year. We were unbeaten at home till the last game of the season at home, and we bloody lost in the last minute of the last games. That was a bit of a gutter, not to go the full season. Yeah. We struggled away from home a bit. So we finished about mid-table, but it was a bit massive improvement to the 2 seasons before, I think it's a big psychological thing, and I know, Bournemouth and Minor home is kind of like, is renowned for being quite a tough place, isn't it? So I think a lot of teams coming up the club, a little bit like a couple of points down perhaps before they even start the game, Yeah, and you got to earn that right, innit? To definitely sides, and we hadn't for that first couple of seasons. We weren't good enough, but I whatever you say. Glenn came in and he said, right, come on, let's get sorted, and I love that. And we did. So what would you say was like your most memorable game in a Bournemouth jersey, or any jersey really? Oh, well, I suppose like it comes back to, we had a couple, played in a couple of big cup games, In fact, that season, 92-93, like I say, we played Swansea home in the cup in the quarterfinals, and I can remember that one. They put an old stand on the second. Yeah, it was big crowd, because obviously Boney and Swansea, but it was like a terrible day. Absolutely windy. Legend as we played against the Winds both halves, and in a way I think we did, but I'll never forget. I wanted to go with the wind to start, right?
Yeah.
And bloody Glenn and Malcolm overruled me. I said, no, we'll go against the wind, hold them out, and then go second half. Two things happened there. I got knocked out after 30 minutes anyway, so I never saw the second half. But in the second half, the wind and the rain stopped, and slightly went the other way. So we lost, I think, 13-0 or 13-3. But it was a late try they scored in the last couple of minutes. But like I say, I can't remember much about the game because I got knocked out. But so the game before that, right, was in St. Peter's in Cardiff, right? And that was the previous round in the cup. And oh man, that was a game because, in fairness to them, they'd beaten Cardiff in Cardiff Arms Park.
That's right, yeah.
The round before, they won 16-14, and oh man, that's got to be the biggest cup shock.
Yeah.
I know. Respect to the Donks who beat Newport at home, but that's at home. They went away to Cardiff and beat them, and they're like a local side, like a feeder team, like Boney to Swansea or whatever. So they won that game, and so all the media was up then for St. Peter's, and we drew them away in the cup. They were in the same league as us in Division 3, so we went there, and I say, with Glenn, and then he was coaching with a guy called Hugh Rees, who's now involved with Estelvera. He's team manager in Estelvera.
Oh, yeah.
His boy Paul played as well, right? And they were a good pair of coaches, but Glenn was really up for the cup because he'd come from Leith and they'd had success. They'd won the cup, in the late 80s, early 90s. His part of his thing was, right, we play a rota system in the league games, right? We are playing there was a bit of competition in a few places. We had quite a good squad. He said we are playing a rota, so that was a bit of a. For a start, the boys would never done that in Boney before. What's a rota? What do you mean? Well, you don't play every game. You and a boy are both good. You might have 1 week, so that took a bit of getting used to. But he said, right, but when it comes to a cup game, I'm picking, or we were picking. So I was in selection, and he said we'd have a selection, and we would pick the best side on form for that. So we pick our best side in the cup,
Yeah.
So that gave the cup a bit of a special thing. So we'd already beaten, I was looking earlier, we beat Pennegross away, we beat Abertillery at home, we beat Trimsaran in Trimsaran, and then we would have played St. Peter's away, in the cup. So, and it's the Cardiff Swansea thing, and then we are Swansea there, Cardiff. So it was all building up, we went to play the game, and we always have a little stop off there, coaches would have they chat, and then they'd leave it to me then. Almost when we got to the ground, they'd said they bet, and it was up to me to motivate or whatever, And oh man, it was honestly, actually I got the program, but it was February the 27th, 1993. So it's 28 years ago this Saturday coming. It's in a couple of days now, to the date.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went to this game, and then it was a massive crowd in it because two sides and in junior clubs really, and had a chance to get into the quarterfinal of the cup. So it was here we go, here we go. So we play now, and they had a big crowd, home crowd in it. So they were on one side of the pitch, our supporters the other. I know it's good-natured banter, but Mark Isles was playing on the wing, one of the boys, a tenant boy. His nephew was the boy in the back row who went to Japan. Who was that chap now, though? He's a really good player. Back row forward. And he went to Japan or somewhere.
Oh, Luke Jones.
Luke's uncle, this was, right? Playing on the wing.
What a player he was, man.
Yeah,
Luke.
and he's telling me that. Well, his uncle was superb, hard as nails, right? I can see. Notice, if you're on the wing and you're by the side of their supporters,
you're copping it. You are copping it.
My mate in work went to the game. And he said, the stick they were giving you a wing, all good natured stuff. But he said you were killing him, and they were winning the game, right? So this how the game went. Just briefly, I just said, they were up, right? They were beating us. I think at one stage it was 13-3 they got to, and we half time. Oh God, we were struggling, But we kept going, and we were playing better, coming more into it, and so silencing the crowd a bit, and we couldn't score try, or we were bloody pressing, and we couldn't score, and but we kept kicking out penalties. Sammy Morris kicked his penalties. So it was 13-12 now, going into injury time. It was I think it was 83rd minute, because again, it was in the Sunday Times, the report of the match. They got all the times of the scores. So 83rd minute now, I can remember now, all right, last goal now, boys. So you have a line out just outside the 22, Ian throws it in, Pat palms it to Mikey, to Malcolm. He just passed me the ball quickly, there was not much on. So I just closed my eyes and dropped a goal that. And it was a scruffy looking bugger, but it just crept over the post.
Oh my God.
So oh my God. So that was 15-12 to us then. And Yeah, it was like magical because I think I'd made a mistake earlier on in the game. I'd thrown a poor pass and they'd scored off that. So I was like, oh my God, disaster. But right at the end, I managed to bloody drop a goal and we won. And then Sammy kicked the penalty, the last kick of the game. We won 18-13, I think, you know. And then after the game, Steve Scannell, or Richard Scannell's brother, and Terry Purdue, they all our supporters ran on and they lifted me up and carried me off. It was amazing. Honest to God, I felt like Barry John and the Lions. Honestly, it was but it was really, really amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and like, you know, had a great night after. But just to bring it up to date, right? Because I was thinking about this earlier. You know, it was like, you know, like the current squad now when they won up in Glenheath, you know, that semi-final against York. But I'm telling you now, I was watched that game in it. And I was like proud as a supporter then to watch the boys because they were behind, you know, in the first half. You know more than me, you know. I don't know what you said to half time, but to come back and win that game, you know, that was great, you know. So it's.
I bet you didn't have to buy a pint in the bar, you know, like John's will do. I bet.
Oh no, I can't. It's almost 20 years ago. I can't. But like going back to when the Stroke game, I went back in the club after the game, you know, a couple of years ago, and see all the boys enjoying and singing like bloody Tom Jones number and stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, honestly, I got emotional. I saw Stuart Turner and his mother, and like it took me back years. Like honestly, and I was like, oh bloody hell! You ask Stuart, I was like, oh my God. So that's what it's about, and it's got to be special. Like, you know what I mean? So right. It's like, you know, fair enough. That's the way it is, isn't it?
I'm just going to ask you that now. So, who would you say coming up against the toughest opponent you've played against? Who would you think would giving you a bit of a torrid time? Like, or you think, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
He's a baller like this guy.
Yeah. Well, oh my God. And again, like it's a hard question to answer, isn't it? You know, because like every club has got like legends, and you know, local rugby. You know, like I say, West Wales. Try to play against like Seven, as you say. They had Brian Howell, the prop playing for them, was like a legend. Played 1 million games for them. You know, he went with the Ian Jones out at half in Vardre, captain of like 7, 8, 9 years. My God, you know, they were local legends, like in local rugby, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously Tumble, you had bloody Arwell Davis as captain, you know, outstanding. So, you know, when you start off, you playing against good sides, and they had a hell of a back row in Tumble, and then bringing it more up to date in the mid-90s, like we had a bit of a battle with Astragan. Like they were rivals to us then, you know. And they had good players. They had Keshan Hopkins playing in the centre, and A.D. Wills, you know, really good players. But I think, if I'm totally honest, as much as it kills me to say so, you know, the team that during in the 90s that gave us the biggest hassle was Dunvant, you know. Oh my God, they strong. I gotta say, mate, they had some talent on that side, honestly, and it shows because they went through, you know, like us, they were West Wales, you know, and they all of a sudden then they were the kiddies, and they always had a good midfield. In fairness to them, you know, they had a boy called Nigel Bolton playing when he's a bit older than me, Nigel, and he was a big, powerful, confident player, very good centre. And then they had Warren Lloyd playing with him. I think Warren's still involved with Dundee now, I think, doing something. And he was just pure class, Warren, in the centre, you know, really good players. And then they had, again, a boy who's my age, actually, was outside half, Mark Thomas. They had playing for Dundee, right? And Mark was a hell of a boy character. I liked his surfing, you know, he was spaced out, you know, but as a rugby player, as an outside half, I played with him a little bit in the district team, you know, in the youth, my last year in youth, and you could see then, I played in the centre, he played 10, and I was like, bloody hell, he can play, right? And then playing against him, you know, for years in Dunvant, and honestly, it's easy to say it, but you know, you get some players who went on to have like, you know, recognition like at a high level in terms of, you know, whatever it might be, and then I look at Mark and I'm thinking, he's as good as it. I personally think like that boy was as good as any of them. Like, you know, bloody hell, he was hell of a player. So yeah, Dunvant had they were some tough boys playing for them.
You know, you looking back, and I don't know whether you're doing much looking back at your career or anything, and obviously you're still playing, mate, and still doing a job for us as well for the seconds, and ruined a few of my sessions as well, mate. I remember that. I can never forget the session when I had the first team running like a new defensive shape, and you probably still remember it. And right, we're going up on a flat 4, and you caught the ball at 10 and just scrubbed it through, bounced back into your hands and scored underneath the posts. I picked up all my cones. I said, well, that's it. You
There's more luck than judgment, mate. I tell you what. No.
No, I mean, class is permanent. But looking back, mate, was there anything that you think, I might have changed this, or is there anything that you think, would you change anything?
I think probably thinking about it, because like I think, like I say, when I was like 92, 93 made captain, and I was like, I was quite intense about it all. Like, I was like, the boys would meet up the club, and they'd meet before the game, and they'd maybe go in the clubhouse and have a laugh and a joke. And like I'd go straight into the change room and sit there and like lie down and look at the ceiling, and I don't know whatever planet I was on, but I was like, get into it. So I was right into it. I have to admit, I was right into it. So then, like, I never forget, bloody Alan Bevan left the club to go to Aberavon. And like, I took it personally. I took it as a personal affront. I don't know why. I was like, why would I be like that? But I just didn't want to see us losing players, Yeah. So I remember I was like, I like blanked him, and I remember we were in the do somewhere, and I turned my back on him, and I was thinking, at the time I didn't think anything of it, but after being, when you mature a bit, like, and in fairness, I still friendly with Alan, and he's pulled me up on it a couple of times, recently, and said, you were a twat when you just, turned your back on me or whatever. I never forget it. He's saying to me, and then you realise, who was I to judge somebody else now wanting to move to a different club? Do you know what I mean? Longer journey, you might have more expenses. Do you know what I mean? I don't know people's personal situations. Do you get me? Yeah. And at that time, I was a bit of a twat, because bloody hell, after that, it was like a merry-go-round then. You know what I mean? Everybody was leaving or joining and things. Do you know what I mean? But I remember I did give Alan a bit of an hard time. Whether he might have been the first person to go or something, I'm not sure. I think he might have been one of the first boys to leave, Yeah. But after that, after Glenn Ball had 3 seasons with us, he went to Aberystwyth and he took about 4 or 5 players with him. So like, who am I to judge? You know what I mean? Yeah. Boys who want to move on, either to play better, what they feel is better standard rugby, or longer journeys and a bit more expenses. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's a lot of it's down to like you being a Bournemouth boy, and like same as a lot of people up. I think the sun shines from Bournemouth, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? And you think, well, this for you is the ultimate kind of thing, isn't it? So you think, well, why would you want to leave this kind of place, but it's different for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, and like that's the one thing for me. I think I should have been more chilled about it, because everybody, there was a lot of players left Bournemouth and joined Bournemouth, and when it was the mad times, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was always there more or less until I fell out with them myself. So you know what I mean? It's like that's the way it is, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you learn from his experiences, and so that's one thing I think I would have been. Oh man, chill out a bit, like, you know what I mean? You can't not judge other people's, decisions to change, to move club, That was a bit of a bit of a low point.
Jonzo, we're going to move on now, right? We're going to get you to pick your Bournemouth 15. So I know I've been speaking to you in the week, mate, and I know you've been stressed out of your head about this and having sleepless nights and stuff. So over to you, basically, man. You want to pick your Bournemouth 15 if you can. And no, you can't have substitutes like you asked me, and no, you can't pick 2 teams to play against each other either, mate. That's not the way it goes.
This is not good. This isn't good. This is like disaster. But I have had a go, mate, right?
Come on, then.
But what I will say is that I've tried if there's boys who are local to Bournemouth and boys who may have come in from somewhere else, I've gone for the Bournemouth, for the boy who's more connected to the club or village, or you've been through the youth and stuff like that, right? So that's just one of my caveats, right? If anybody bloody asks. Where do you want to start, mate? You say, where do you want to start?
Let's go with the fatties first, is it? Let's go with the forwards.
Right, okay. Start with number 1 then. Is it loose head, so prop, so oh my god, I've written it down by here now. So I think I've gone for Robert Price. Okay, Rob on the loose head. he was like a tough boy, Robert, and yeah, just very tough, very hard, and would hold the scrum for you. And then, later on, he went to Aberavon. Do you know what I mean? Like, but and I remember, I think Robert played maybe, it was like maybe maybe a season or maybe 2 seasons in the seconds before he could get in the first team in Bonamine. He definitely played second team rugby. And like props develop at different ages. And I think he can, because there was other good props, like we had Robin Williams coming up from Dunvant. He was a great prop. Mayo from Morriston, another good prop. Geraint Evans, the farmer, like from Money of the Garrig, outstanding. But like Robert's more like say local, he's so I've gone for Robert.
Great stuff. Locked them in. Happy days. Okay.
Oh, there's a cracker now. So okay. So like I say, I was lucky to play a couple of games with Charlie, and Nicky was like a legend in the club, and you know what I mean. But I only played about 2 or 3 games with him, so I couldn't pick him over bloody either. And then there's the other two big characters, and is like Ian and Darren Poland, isn't it? So they were the two, and like I played with them both, and oh man, Jesus, they were both very, very, very good hookers, committed to the club.
Yeah.
I mean, both local boys, obviously, within a stone's throw of the club, the two of them. So that was a tough choice. But I think maybe Darren edges it for his contribution in open play, like, and his fitness, I think. So although Ian may not to me, I'll go with Darren for
Darren was, when I first came into the first team, Darren was my captain as well, and I was like kind of, just kind of did stuff that I wanted to do when I was playing, and he used to pull me back a few times. But what a character! I remember watching him having a fight against Fleur de Lis, it was at the club, and they had a Welsh number 8, something George, is it Glenn George maybe?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he played for us back row forward. Oh yeah,
back row. I think he was scrapping with him or something. I was thinking, flipping, like, this guy, his nails like over as a damn ball, and so
he was.
Good choice.
Both Ian and Darren.
Yeah.
Hard edge to him. Do you know what I mean? But I think Darren's bit fitter. I think bit fitter. Maybe a bit.
Who we got for tight end, mate?
Tight end. Like I say, I don't know much about bloody forwards, but I think being local boy again, and I upset him. I go for Alan Bevan on the tight end because Nigel Evans is a good prop for us. Great tight end as well. But Alan, and I tell you what, Alan took more fit when he was like young. He's about a year younger than me, Alan, I think. About a year younger than me. He's behind me in youth, I think, a year. But when he came into the seniors, like, he was fit. Well, for a tight end prop. Go back in there those days. Most of the boys were a little bit tubby then in them days, But Alan came up and he was like, a fit boy for a tight end, So I go with Alan Bevan on a tight end.
And because you didn't speak to him for a couple of try and smooth it over a bit. I like your style, John. So that's the armour. Who's second rows, mate? Who we going for?
Second rows, this is like second rows. I gone for Pat Nolan and Chris Gittins. They're both kind of similar line out forwards,
Yeah.
But like Pat he was the first. He beat me to 100 Heineken League games. Me and him were like vying to be the first person to play 100 league games in the Heineken, and he beat me to that bugger. So and he was a hell of a character, Pat, easy going. Yeah. Oh my God, he was like amazing. But he could win bloody line-up on. He's a good rugby player, good head on him, Cardiff boy, like, but there we are. But so I go Pat and I go Chris Gittins, because like Chris then, intelligent player and intelligent bloke, like, it's, and he captained the club later on.
I was going to say he captained the club, didn't he?
Turner boy, but like he came up and he was there for a long time. I think Ron Waldron brought Chris up, I think, if I'm right in saying that. And amazing, came up with his little Welsh youth bag and training, like,
Do you know what? I can you say you were talking about the team sheet earlier, and you put the team sheet up on the wall and after training and everything. And another thing I can remember, because I used to like walk up and watch like your era, like and then a bit later on as well, just to walk up. But sometimes I remember being in the car on a Saturday morning or something. I used to have all the results on the, and you go, we're going live to Bonamine and stuff like that. Like, all the, I thought it was brilliant, like, to have the results and the people up there watching it and stuff like that. Like, it was.
They used to have, like, say, the Swansea Sound or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's what it was, Swansea Sound. I remember Bonamine playing against Blackwood or whatever it was at the club, and try and get a lift up there then and watch the second half or something like that. I can remember it. So, Blindside flanker, Jonzo.
6. Who have I gone for? Oh, it's Tony. I gone Tony Sturgis at 6. Again, when Tony was a younger boy, first, for start, like he was like on the weights massively, like he was like a Garth, but he was like quick. He played in the centre me once up in Estragan.
I was going to say, yeah, I thought he was a centre as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he played once. Me and him played in the centre up in Estrad. I think we beat them by way as well. I think that day. Yeah, character like, and yeah, he could run. He was quick, quick and aggressive and strong. Everything he went, and competitive. All the brothers are the same. But Tony at 6, mate. Tony at 6.
Strong, mate. Strong.
He'd probably say he wanted to play 7 when if he ever watches this.
Yeah, you're in charge, mate. It's all right. You have it. Open side, who are we going for?
Open side again. Oh my God, yeah. There's been a lot of good open sides in it up when I was playing. Oh Jesus Christ, you had oh God, the Rat Alan Davis was cracking open side. Dials played then when I was there. Jesus, they were some good 7s, but I think I gone Andrew Myers. They were Peter James as well was good, but I think Andrew. Poor bugger, he's no longer with us. He's dead now, Andrew. But like Andrew, same age as me, went through school together. And again, Andrew played second team rugby before he went into the first team. And then like that game in the cup against Swansea, he was man of the match. He was like outstanding. He hell of a player, Andrew. And then Andrew went to Aberafon then as well. Glenn took him with him as well, like so everybody, that's what happened in those days. But Andrew was tall, rangy.
Yeah.
Get around the park, like he's cool as a cucumber. You had to bloody get him going. Sometimes somebody had to boot him or kick him to get him really wound up, like But Andrew Myers, 7, yeah.
Got him in, mate. Excellent. And then number 8 then.
Yeah, number 8 again. There's a lot of good 8s.
I bet.
Kenny Isaacs played 8 when I first went up there, and Kenny was big man, big bloody thighs. Jesus Christ. Neil Sturgis then was cracking as well, and no nonsense. Neil, and he's a good rugby head in him as well, like hell of a rugby bloody brain on him. Gerald Williams came up, played a bit of 8, like Gerald, and he was ex-Neath, and he was like all-star performer, ball everywhere, really attacking 8. But I've gone for Chris Powell as my 8 because amazing player. And I tell you, he had loads of strengths, but receiving kickoffs, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him drop a kickoff. He honestly, no, they kick off and he would just go, my ball, and he's thick set, boof. Skilled, like, he'd always clown about. He's the biggest clown in the world, Jake. His actor, like, innit, you know what I mean? But dude, he came, like, he started off in the front row, like, in Bonamine, like, and he didn't enjoy it, and then he, like, in this first game I played, he was in the second row. I can see, but he was in the second row, Mark Sturgis, and he didn't enjoy that much. He went down to Birch Grove to play then, like his brother Steve went back to Birch Grove, and they Birch Grove boys. But then he came back up to us about 98, 99, 97, 98, because we I think I was captain that year. We'd lost the first 6 games on the trot, right? And then, like, I said, oh my God, we're in the shit a bit here. And Malcolm and the club, they got out, they signed Danny Hawkins and Chris Powell together, like, I think it was together. I think the first game we played Caerphilly up in Bonham. I think it was Caerphilly, and they were top of the league at the time. We beat them by a point, 18-17, and then we went on a run then, and I think we finished 3rd or 4th in the league, like, but Jakey was a massive part of that for about 2 or 3 seasons, or maybe a bit longer, but he was like outstanding. He was. Him and
I remember great Jake, yeah. He had great skills as well.
Mate, I'm telling you.
He had some awesome skills.
And like I said, kick-off receipt, outstanding. Well, so Jakey gets my vote today.
He's in, Jakey. Scrum off.
Oh my God, no, this was a crazy one again. I haven't just mentioned.
You sent me the list, and I said, I couldn't pick through them, mate.
I tell you, there were some. Oh, Jesus Christ. We've had three come up from the Pontedilla, isn't it? With Graham Alexander, Richie Evans, Adrian Killer, and all class players, like, oh God, like brilliant players. My God, and then it was like Dewey Thomas playing, Alan Powell from Boney, Chris Davis. And then, but I think it came down to a choice then, because I was talking local, between Danny and Michael Clement. And that's another tough choice, but I'd gone with Michael Clement, actually. Mikey. Yeah, Mikey is man. Like, oh man, he was like, talk about like an extra forward anyway, he's big and strong, and oh man, he was he was some player, Michael was, you know. Obviously captained the club as well, captained us to a promotion season as well. We finished second with Ystradgynlais, nice, but we beat them on try count. We had to win away last game of the season in Tredegar by 4 tries.
Yeah.
And he was captain that day. We went up and we did it. And all of us, the boys were watching the game, and they were all walking away, and we were all giving them the bloody bird. As it was in those days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Michael just edges it at 9, I think. Man.
I can remember Mikey. A couple of years ago now, and he was in the bar, and he was like quite late on. You know what it's like, having a few pints and stuff, and someone was mucking about, messing around with Mikey, wrestling or something, and he flipped one of the boys, like, up and over, off on the table. All it was, I was like, jeez.
He's mad after a few beers, Michael. So you don't want to bugger that, I tell you.
Yeah, stay well away, like. Yeah. Outside half, Johnzo, what are we going for?
Outside half, I'd have to go for Malcolm. You know, bloody hell, 15 caps for Wales. We had loads of good outside halves, like I say, you know, again, bloody hell. We had bloody 15 Morgan came up from Vardra, like, I think, you know, Dean, like,
yeah, good
hell of a boy, and a really good outside half. Jesus, you had Spud then from 7, Richard, bloody hell, came up from Aberafon, great outside half. So we've had really good outside halves over the years, you know, but, man, he's played for Wales, and you know, 15 caps or whatever it was, and like, he was good. He was good. And he was brave too, Malcolm. Fair play. You know, he's one small. He's have to go to him.
He came back and coached for a while as well, didn't he, Johnson?
You what, mate? Malcolm?
He came back to coach, didn't he?
Yeah, he played, and then when I think Ron went back to Meath then at some stage, Malcolm took on the coach. And he was a good coach, you know. He knows his rugby, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But as a player, as an outside half, like, yeah, he's class. All class.
It was good to have inside you, like.
Yeah.
Left wing, mate, number 11.
Oh, that's another bloody perler as well. That was.
I can see the anguish when you face.
Honestly,
right?
Yeah, it's tough, man. You know,
it's like a therapy. Get it all off your chest, mate.
How many bloody good wingers have we had? Do you know what I mean? Christ, just Batsford was like very, very good player. You know.
Yeah, he's flying, isn't he?
But again, tough bugger, Chris. He's only skinny, like it, but hard as nails. You know. Johnny Young was another great winger. Like, oh Jesus. And then like Sooty, Simon Davis, like he you know, Christ, man, he was like the quickest you've ever seen. But
yeah,
I was talking to my old man about it actually. I said, well, what would you do? I said, you know, I said, what about Sooty? And he said, but you know, he only played 3 games. He looked at he got some stats. He said he only played 3 games. He said before he went to Swansea. He played 3 games in the first year of Heineken. He might have played outside half actually. I've been the first game in blind because I missed that. I was ill, so I missed the first game, and I think he only played a couple. And then Malcolm took him. I think him and Malcolm both went to Swansea. I think that's what happened. Malcolm went back as outside half, and I think Simon went as a winger. And so I wouldn't pick him. So and then when he came back to the club, Simon came back late on. In fairness to him, but he wasn't. He was still good, like still very good. But he wasn't at his peak. He probably said himself, you know. So I think I gone for Paul John. So
Paul John,
because. Again, he's a good winger, but a tough bloke. You know, he played back row forward. Paul did, you know, as well. Like so, you know, and I played youth rugby. Me and Paul played in the centre in youth rugby, and we played a cup final in Dunvant against Swansea youth. He scored a hat-trick. You know, bloody hell. Not many boys can do that. You know, yeah, he was a good player, Paul. So I've gone for, and he's a tough bugger. So I've gone for Paul on one wing, and I say he's. Perhaps more. He was Morriston boy, but he played youth for Boney, and so that's edged it for Paul as well.
Yeah. Get him in. 12, mate.
12. I gone 12. I think I gone Di Hawkins at 12.
What a player he was.
Yeah, Di. He only had a season with us, like no breeze of Samlet boy, like you know what I mean. So he qualifies as well, like. But yeah. I had a season in centre with Di. And again, we've had bloody good centres over the years, you know. But yeah, I know. Yeah, I gone for Di. He was like a pocket battleship, committed, fast, tough, strong, good vision. So you know, good defence.
Where did he go? Aberafon after Bonamine was? Did he go there then?
I think he went to Caerphilly first. I think because he was captain of the Wales under-21 team that went to the World Cup. You know, like these days he'd be straight in the region. Like his boys in the region now. So his boys coming through, and but like Di captained Wales under-21s after he left Boney. I think Chris Davey was the coach, or maybe he might have had a chat with him to come play for Caerphilly. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But I think he went there first, and then he ended up in Aberafon. Di did, but good player.
I remember watching him.
Yeah.
Big ball carrier, like, and he must have been great. Must have been great to play with him, but
Yeah, it was.
gap.
Yeah, good player.
13 outside centre.
13 again. Made a few. I wrote a few names down the centres. Who we have here? Christ, yeah, you had like, yes, bloody know. When I first started with Clive Ford playing, and Clive Ford's a bloody real tough nut. With Clive Aist as well, another big man. I played with Gareth Noble at the club, and Gareth played for Swansea and Birchgrove, you know. And then Wayne Thomas from Pontevedra played with Wayne. Christ almighty, there was some great players. Spacey, a boy, Chris Jenkins from Pontevedra, strong. Bloody hell, just, you know, you name them all, it's amazing. Sammy Maddock was coming through. Neil Wilcox was just getting there as I was finishing, all good players. But then Peter Roberts is the one that I've picked. Like Peter and I played a lot together in the 90s, and hell of a boy, Peter.
Peter Roberts.
Yeah, I tell you what, Peter came up the club, and he was, I'm talking about fitness, you know, he's another one. He's on that level where he was like, boy, he can run, like, you know, and he was big. Yeah. And he could kick goals for fun, Peter. Yeah, so Peter was a great player. So Peter and Di, and a good centre partnership.
A strong so far, fair play. Right wing, mate.
Right wing, I got, like I say, mentioned a lot of the wingers, but I've gone for like another bony boy is Di Owls. Yeah, and I think Di kicked the penalty when they won the West Wales Championship in 85-86. So there's that's what Di did for him. And then like Di played outside half as well, but then like he went on the wing and in the early mid 90s. And I think, you know, in those days they used to have the Heineken Leagues. They used to have a dinner at the end of the year, like have all the stats about the players. And I think he was top try scorer 2 out of like either 2. He's always in the top 2 or 3, like for about 3 or 4 years, you know, in terms of the division we were in, and probably across Wales. You know, they'd have the top 4 divisions of Wales, and they'd name the top try scorer, top point scorer, and Di was in there regular. He was a good player, big boy, fast, skillful. So Di gets it.
He was playing outside UC Johns. Oh, that's why he was going.
And he was good on the night out as well, Di was.
Yeah, that's why he's in the team. But you gotta think of these things. 15.
15 is the last one, is it? 15.
Last one, mate.
Okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad about that. But 15. I go. Like I say, played when I first started. Sammy Morris was playing. He was a good goal kicking 15. Paul Rees, then, who was a 10 mostly, he did play 15 at the club as well. Another kicker, better kicker than a runner. But if we're looking at like runners, you got Dean Evans, who came up the club, or Dean Charles, he's called now, Dean from Dunvan, like, and he was a bloody tank, great player. Darryl Williams, then from the Bond, played for bloody Wales, didn't he? You know, and Darryl, when he first came to us, he was outstanding. But for me, I'd pick Chris Lewis. Fred, used to call him Fred. Chris Lewis. He was brave, fast, everything he went in a full back. Like, couldn't kick for toffee. He'd chunk everything. He'd play a hopeless kicker. But in terms of hitting the line, you know, or making his tackles, Chris Lewis, good player. Yeah.
That looks a strong team, that is, mate. Some headers in there as well, isn't it?
Some like I say,
you've got players in it.
Yeah, but like I say, I honestly could have picked like 2 or 3 even teams, would give them a game, no problem. Do you know what I mean? But I think, like, looking at mostly localish boys, and, you know, boys that played when I was in my prime, like, and they were in their prime. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think is pretty good side, like, you know.
Do you know you're thinking of that, like, I don't know, it does not surprise you anything, but looking back and thinking of all those players, like how much born of mine of the, you know, junior section and everything have developed these players in the last couple of years, like, do you know what I mean?
Well, and, what I would say to that, right, mate, is like, because I was thinking about it since about 85, 86, 87, you know, to be consistently playing at a high level of rugby, right? Like I mentioned, all those great clubs, like every club has their day, do you know what I mean? I think,
of course,
but bottom line, in fairness, in my opinion, I don't think there's any other. Llandudno have got through and made it now into the top league, but there's a lot of money up at the bloody Farmers and all that, you know. But like, and like Dunvan was stopped a bit, but so bottom line, you know, when they finished, like, they didn't want to promote the Welsh Rugby Union, but to be consistently good at that level since the mid 80s, I think Boney are bloody hell. They're one of the sides that they can say, regardless of, we can talk about whether clubs had ambition in terms of money and things. That's another decision that clubs have had to make. But if you look at the consistency from the 80s, bloody hell, the Boney have been up there and that's come through the junior, especially lately, as we know, because that's the way it is. It's been fantastic, I think, and all credit to people like yourself and, like I say, Nicky Cunniffs of the world, Keith Brooks, Kevin Brooks, all these boys have been putting time into the club, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yourself, obviously, and Richard Scannell now as a chairman. Fair play, clubs going great guns, which is what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, we want to know exactly. So from you going forward now, Jonzo, we hopefully going to get some rugby in soon, mate, and hopefully see you back out on the pitch a few times, mate. Is that still a plan, or?
Well, I hope so. But I haven't seized up too much over the bloody lockdown. And after I do fancy having a cup. I am coming. I should really pack it in now, but
no,
I might have a couple of games. Like, you know what I mean? Just I need to. I want to score a try, man. I want to get over the whitewash. I want to score a try. That's what I want to do. Because then I would have scored. But like I said, scored points in the 80s, 90s, 90s, 10s. I haven't scored a try, mate. So if I score a try, I'll have done it as a try as well. You know what I mean? So.
Was it always your was it always the plan or ambition or whatever it was to come back and finish it off?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I fell out with the club, and I was maybe a bit of my fault, bit of their fault, whatever. But it took about 14 years for me to get over it, like, But I did one. I was in the bar. I was talking to Alan Tumble, and I said, I would like to come back and have a few games. And once, and he was keen, like, so once he said, "Oh yeah, you should," I thought, yeah, I will, then I will. So. It's just nice to get a connection back with the boys who are doing it now. And I say all credit to yourself and the players up there. The camaraderie with the club, and it's in a great place. And I'm just glad to be, having a bit of fun, when I can with the seconds, But it's all credit to the club. But it's in the right place now with good people, and that's what rugby's about for me anyway.
It was funny. I think it was one of your first or second games coming back, and obviously I've watched you play back in the day and stuff, and obviously knew the quality which you had. And then I can remember when you come back for the seconds. So I'd often ask the coaches and then for the seconds or few boys who went well, so we can maybe rotate it and. And all the boys like, Jonzo, the best player on the pitch. Get him in the first. Get him involved. I was like,
I don't think so, mate. His time has come and gone. Come and gone. But I tell you what, mine, I haven't lost yet. Mine for the seconds, I will say.
I know, mate. Exactly. It hasn't gone unnoticed, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Bloody hell. That's a bit of fun, that is. But no, but it's nice to, it's nice. When I came back, I said the boys didn't know who hell I was. They didn't know me, because I'd been there donkeys years ago, So I remember the first game away. I was just quiet. I think it was Stuart Turner and Lee Jolly Rogers were there, so they knew about me, But Liam, I think, was on the bench where they were losing down in Porthcawl. And he said, "Shall I stick him on, to me, get him on?" I think he asked Stuart Turner. I said, "Yeah, put him on." And as it happened, we came from behind and we won that game, and it went well for me, And,
it could have been that game, actually,
second team are a good side, so it's easy then, really, realistically, for me to play there at 10 now and just use the good football carriers we got and the good backs outside. So if you've got a bit of sense, you can do it.
You can do a bit of it.
So,
Jonzo, it's been great chatting to you, mate. And
thank you, appreciate it.
No, it's it's a good one for us to start, and hopefully I'll be able to do this now with a couple of other people, and just trying to get it, trying to get a bit of a bone in mind chat going on social media and stuff like that, just as though we're still here. And another thing as well, we're trying to get sort out our floodlights and stuff like that now, going forward, and looking to raise a bit of money. So we're going to be setting up a crowdfunding page and stuff like that.
I was going to say, I haven't got my wallet on me, but
hey, the money you got, Pat, you will have it all up there.
Yeah, if I'd pay my membership up there now, that's killing me.
But yeah, we'll be having a link up on this video at some point as well. But we'll be doing a few challenges, and so just basically keep an eye on this. Whoever watches this, keep an eye on it. And hopefully we can raise a bit of money for the junior section and all the hard work that everybody's doing at the club as well. So, Jonzo, you're a top man, mate. Thanks for everything. And keep safe over this lockdown. Hopefully see you at the club. And
be nice.
Don't ruin all my sessions now, but with all your skills, but just have to take you out of those sessions, right?
Top man. Thank you very much, bud. Look
Top
after
man,
yourself.
mate. Look after yourself. Cheers, John.
Ta-ra,
Ta-ra,
pal.
bud. Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra, mate.